Welcome to day 2 of our adventure, climbing the Säntis. The night at 2085 meters was restless and sleep-free, so we started the day exhausted and barely recharged. Breakfast was meager, just a bit of bread and jam. Treated water is available for 4 francs per liter. The ascent to Säntis follows the cable car's intermediate station along sections secured with steel cables. Apart from the altitude and tiredness, the first few meters are still easy. However, later passages are genuinely dangerous. You need to be sure-footed here, as any fall could potentially be fatal. Despite the early hour, there are already quite a few people on the trail. The direct route from Alpstein is short enough to bring some Swiss locals up to these heights very early in the morning. A few guests from the Tierwis mountain inn are also setting off. The 400 meters to the summit are mostly manageable terrain, though the fatigue is definitely settled in our bones. The trail here is very clearly signposted, and the last few snowfields are easy to cross, aside from a little bit of sliding, of course. After a longer climb, a cable-secured passage begins. The first part is easy, but the steep sections here are not to be underestimated. Personally, I have to say off-leash dogs are an incredible hazard to others here. I was nearly hit by a falling dog myself, so take care of yourselves when you are on the cables here. After a short climb, you reach the summit of Säntis through protective tunnels, designed to shield against rockfall. Due to the rising temperatures, peak rocks are crumbling in many places, and the Säntis hasn't been spared either. At least, thanks to the ongoing renovation work, it's very quiet today, and there are only a few people on the summit. After a short break and taking in the stunning panorama, we head towards the Gasthaus Alter Säntis. From there, our route takes us via Halber Säntis to Lisengrat and onto the Rotsteinpass. Even though the paths are straightforward, you have to be careful not to slip on the loose scree. With views of the Säntis, down to Alpstein and all the way over to Schäffle, we make our way along the narrow path. If you have them, Via Ferrata gloves can help you handle all the steel cable passages better. But don't worry, the paths are narrow, but not really difficult. The cables just keep you from slipping on the loose gravel. At the Rotsteinpass, you can refuel once more before tackling the climb up to Rotstein. Here it goes truly steep uphill, with a few segments that could almost be classified as grade 1 climbing. Especially after a sleepless night, the exhaustion really makes itself felt. All in all, we have a 14.5 kilometer tour ahead of us today, with 1090 meters of ascent and 1425 meters of descent.
Gewundet hast du. Hoppala.
We've almost covered 700 meters of elevation gain by the time we reached the Fließkopf. From here, the cable-secured passages are behind us, and the hike becomes much more enjoyable. We head towards Mutschensattel, which we reach via a grassy plateau after a short climb from Zwinglipass. Along this stretch, we encounter hikers only very occasionally. Most of the time, we have this beautiful landscape completely to ourselves. From the Mutschensattel, the view of the famous Saxer Lücke opens up for the first time. Much like Lake Oeschinen, or the Five Lakes and Pietzel, this spot is hugely popular on social media. To reach it, however, we have to pass one last snowfield. Even though it looked simple from below, you could only guess where the transition to the steep drop was from above. Without knowing what lies behind, you always have to be careful with snowfields. After the last quiet meters of the descent, the peace and quiet quickly come to an end. You immediately notice how popular the Saxer Lücke is. Suddenly, it feels like a highway. Hundreds of tourists are on the trails, including a few influencers who clearly haven't informed themselves about the local laws. An FPV drone buzzes right over our heads, smack in the middle of the Alpstein region's no-fly zone. Despite the crowd, the path through the flower meadows is very beautiful, even as the fatigue slowly takes over. For the ride down on a cable car, you'll need an account and internet access. The cable car isn't part of the SBB network and costs 20 francs for the downhill ride per person. Half-fare discounts are not applicable. Thank you so much for joining us on this tour. We'll see you on the next one.